We will cover 2.0 environments in which projects operate module overview, which is this video. 2.1 enterprise environmental factors, 2.2 organizational process assets, and 2.3 organizational systems. Environments in which projects operate. The PMBOK guide says that projects exist and operate in environments that may have an influence on them. These influences can have a favourable or a non-favourable impact on the project. Two major categories of influences are enterprise environmental factors, EEFs, and organisational process assets, OPS. Enterprise environmental factors originate from the environment outside the project, and despite the name enterprise, they can often be from outside the enterprise as well. Enterprise environmental factors may have an impact on the organisation, portfolio, programme or project level. Organisational process assets are internal to the organisation. These may arise from the organisation itself, a portfolio, a programme, another project, or a combination of these. Figure 2.1 shows the breakdown of project influences into enterprise environmental factors and organisational process assets. In addition to enterprise environmental factors and organisational process assets, organisational systems play a significant role in the life cycle of the project. System factors that impact the power, influence, interests, competencies and political capabilities of the people to act within the organisational system are discussed further in the section on organisational system. And that brings us to the end of a very short environments in which projects operate module overview. The next lesson is 2.1 enterprise environmental factors. Please read the corresponding chapter in the PMBOK guide before watching the video. Enterprise environmental factors. Enterprise environmental factors, EEFs, refer to conditions not under the control of the project team that influence, constrain or direct the project. These conditions can be internal and or external to the organisation. Enterprise environmental factors are considered as inputs to many project management processes, specifically for most planning processes. These factors may enhance or constrain project management options. In addition, these factors may have a positive or negative influence on the outcome, as from PMBOK Guide, page 38. So what are these environmental factors then? There are many different types of enterprise environmental factors, but they can be divided into two distinct groups: those that are external to the organisation and those that are internal. I like to think of enterprise environmental factors this way. Imagine you and your project team are travelling to another country on a cruise ship, and this is where you're managing your project. The ship represents the organisational enterprise environmental factors internal. So the ones internal to the ship would be resource availability, e.g. the vision, mission, values, belief of the shipping company, the rules on board the ship, the expected behaviour of the crew and passengers, the code of ethics and rule of law, the leadership of the captain, as well as the hierarchy and authority relationships of crew members. Geographical distribution of facilities and resources, e.g. there would be a floor plan of a ship showing the facilities on each deck, and you would have information about your cabins and where to eat, for example. Infrastructure, e.g. there will be details of what equipment is available for you to use on board the ship, for example the computers, the gym equipment. There would be resource availability, e.g. you would have a list of staff available to help you, and there would be a shop for purchasing items. Employee capability. There'd be a list of services that can be provided and the times that are available. They would include medical, a gym instructor, religious services, financial services, dance instruction and so on. These are the enterprise environmental factors internal to the cruise liner. But what about the organisation? 1. Enterprise environmental factors internal to an organisation. These would include organisational culture, structure and governance as before, e.g. vision, mission, values, belief, cultural norms, leadership style, hierarchy and authority relationships, organisational style, ethics and code of conduct. Then we had geographic distribution of facilities and resources, e.g. factory resources, virtual teams, shared systems, cloud computing. There's the infrastructure. Examples include existing facilities, equipment, organisational telecommunication channels, information technology hardware, availability and capacity. Information technology software examples include scheduling software tools, configuration management systems, web interfaces to other online automated systems and work authorization systems. Resource availability examples include contract and purchasing constraints, approved providers and subcontractors and collaboration agreements. And then employee capability. Examples include existing human resource expertise, skills, competencies and specialised knowledge. Let's go to our cruise liner and consider the enterprise environmental factors external to the ship. There's the marketplace conditions, e.g. the other competitor shipping companies that you could have travelled with, the reputation of the shipping company that you chose, the name and logo of the company, social and cultural influences and issues, e.g. political climate, codes of conduct, ethics and perceptions of the countries that you're travelling through. Legal restrictions, for example, country or local laws or regulations. For example, you're not allowed to consume alcohol in some countries, and in others, such as Australia, there are many types of food that you're not allowed to bring ashore. Commercial databases, e.g. tables of average ticket prices and expected facilities, as well as published data on risk studies, safety reputation of the various ocean liners, etc. Academic research, e.g. online forums and review sites that rate and compare shipping companies and their offerings. Next is government or industry standards, e.g. health and safety laws, employment laws such as anti-discrimination, minimum wage, certifications for crew and equipment, seaworthiness certification for the ship, laws relating to the storage, preparation and serving of food. And then financial considerations, e.g. currency exchange rates, interest rates, inflation rates, tariffs and geographic location. Then the physical environment elements, e.g. working conditions, weather and constraints. Okay, so these are the enterprise environmental factors external to our cruise liner, but how would we apply those to an organisation? So, enterprise environmental factors external to the organisation, marketplace conditions, e.g. competitors, brand share, recognition and trademarks. Social and cultural influences and issues, e.g. political climate, codes of conduct, ethics and perceptions. Then legal restrictions, examples include country or local laws and regulations related to security, data protection, business conduct, employment and procurement. Commercial databases, e.g. benchmarking results, standardized cost estimating data, industry risk information and risk databases. Academic research, e.g. industry studies, publications and benchmarking results, and government or industry standards. Examples include regulatory agency and standards related to products, production, environment, quality and workmanship. Financial considerations, e.g. currency, exchange rates, interest rates, inflation rates, tariff and geographic location. Physical environment elements would be working conditions, weather and constraints, the same as on board our ship. That brings us to the end of enterprise environmental factors. I hope my analogy with the cruise liner helped you find your sea legs. The next lesson is 2.2, Organisational Process Assets. Please read the corresponding chapter in the PMBOK guide before watching the video. (2.2) Organizational Process Assets, OPS. These are the plans, processes, policies, procedures and knowledge bases specific to and used by the performing organization. These assets influence the management of the project. Organizational process assets include any artifact, practice or knowledge from any or all of the performing organizations involved in the project that can be used to execute or govern the project. The organizational process assets also include the organization's lessons learned from previous projects and historical information. Organizational process assets may include completed schedules, risk data and earned value data. That's from PMBOK Guide page 39. Please remember for the exam that the organizational process assets include lessons learned and historical data such as schedule, risk data and earned value data from previous projects. And that's very important because in most of the processes throughout the project, PMI suggests that you check the lessons learned and historical data, and now you know where to find it. It's also important to remember for the exam that lessons learned on previous projects are held in the lessons learned repository. Lessons learned on the current project are held in the lessons learned register. At the end of the project, the lessons learned register is edited and finalized and then copied to the lessons learned repository. The next important point is all organizational process assets are internal to the organization, and the project team members may be able to update them and add to them throughout the project. However, and please note this carefully, it is usually only the knowledge bases and not the processes, policies and procedures that are changed. I said usually, there can be exceptions, but usually it's not the processes, policies and procedures that are changed by the project team. If you remember back to enterprise environmental factors, the project team can change them. The enterprise environmental factors are split into two categories: internal to the organization and external to the organization. Now we come to the organizational process assets. We find they are also split into two categories, but both are internal: policies, processes and procedures, and the organizational databases. As I mentioned before, generally it is just the knowledge bases that are changed throughout the project. For example, financial performance information, lessons learned, performance metrics, issues and defects. These are constantly updated throughout the project. Processes, policies and procedures are usually established by the Project Management Office or by management and can be updated only by following the appropriate organizational policies and processes. Some organizations encourage the team to tailor templates, life cycles and checklists for the project. These artifacts can be found in the organizational knowledge bases within the organizational process assets. I'm just reading the following list from the PMBOK guide as they're quite simple and don't really need any further explanation. Category 1, processes, policies and procedures. The organization's processes and procedures for conducting project work include initiating and planning, guidelines and criteria for tailoring the organization's set of standard processes and procedures to satisfy the specific needs of the organization. Specific organizational standards such as policies, e.g. human resource policies, health and safety policies, security and confidentiality policies, quality policies, procurement policies and environment policies. Product and project life cycles and methods and procedures, e.g. project management methods, estimation metrics, process audits, improvement targets, checklists and standardized process definitions for use in the organization. Templates, for example, project management plans, project documents, project registers, report formats, contract templates, risk categories, risk statement templates, probability and impact definitions, probability and impact matrices, and stakeholder register templates, and pre-approved supplier lists and various types of contractual agreements, for example, fixed price, cost reimbursable, and time and materials contracts, as we will cover in the cost knowledge area. Executing, monitoring and controlling. Change control procedures, including the steps by which performing organisation standards, policies, plans and procedures, or any project documents will be modified, and how any changes will be approved and validated. Traceability matrices. Financial control procedures, for example, schedule reporting, require expenditure and disbursement reviews, accounting codes and standard contracting provisions. Issue and defect management procedures, for example, defining issue and defect controls, identifying and resolving issues and defects, and tracking action items. Resource availability control and assignment management. Organizational communication requirements, for example, specific communications technology available, authorized communication media, record retention policies, video conferencing, collaborative tools, and security requirements. Procedures for prioritizing, approving and issuing work authorizations. Templates, for example, risk register, issue log and change log. Standardized guidelines, work instructions, proposal evaluation criteria and performance measurement and criteria, and product, service or result verification and validation procedures. That brings us to closing. Project closure guidelines or requirements. Example, final project audits, project evaluations, deliverable acceptance, contract closure, resource assignments, and knowledge transfer to production and or operations. Category 2, organizational knowledge repositories. The organizational knowledge repositories for storing and retrieving information include the configuration management knowledge repositories containing the versions of software and hardware components and baselines of all performing organization standards, policies, procedures, and any project documents. Financial data repositories containing information such as labour hours, incurred costs, budgets, and any project cost overruns. Historical information and lessons learned knowledge repositories, e.g. project records and documents, all project closure information and documentation, information regarding both the results of previous project selection decisions and previous project performance information, and information from risk management activities. Issue and defect management data repositories containing issue and defect status, control information, issue and defect resolution, and action item results. Data repositories for matrices used to collect and make available measurements data to processes and products, and project files from previous projects, for example, scope, cost, schedule, and performance measurement baselines, project calendars, project schedule, network diagrams, risk registers, risk reports, and stakeholder registers. And a reminder, this is a list of what's typically held in organizational process assets. And that brings us to the end of organizational process assets. Next lesson is 2.3, organizational systems. Please read the corresponding chapter in the PMBOK guide before watching the video. Organizational systems. Projects operate within the constraints imposed by the organization through their structure and governance framework. To operate effectively and efficiently, the project manager needs to understand where responsibility, accountability and authority reside within the organization. This understanding will help the project manager effectively use his or her power, influence, competence, leadership and political capabilities to successfully complete the project. The interaction of multiple factors within an individual organisation creates a unique system that impacts the project operating in that system. The resulting organisational system determines the power, influence, interests, competence and political capabilities of the people who are able to act within the system. The system factors, management elements, governance frameworks and organisational structure types. That's from the PMBOK Guide, page 42. The first question that we need to answer is, what is a system? The Oxford Dictionary defines a system as a set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or an interconnecting network, a complex whole. The PMBOK defines a system as a collection of various components that together can produce results not obtainable by the individual components alone. The principles related to systems are dynamic, systems can be optimized, system components can be optimized, systems and their components cannot be optimized at the same time, and systems are non-linear in responsiveness, i.e. a change in the input does not produce a predictable change in the output. The system's dynamics are defined by the interaction between the components based on the relationships and dependencies that exist between the components. Typically, an organization's management is responsible for its systems. They examine the optimum trade-offs between the components and the system in order to take the appropriate action in modifying the systems to achieve the best outcomes for the organization. These systems impact the organization's projects, and so the project manager must consider these systems as well as the organization's governance framework when determining how to fulfill the project's objectives. Organizational governance frameworks. Recent PMI research reveals that governance refers to organizational or structural arrangements at all levels of an organization designed to determine and influence the behavior of the organization's members. This research suggests that the concept of governance is multidimensional and includes consideration of people, roles, structures and policies, and requires providing direction and oversight through data and feedback. That's from PMBOK Guide, page 43. What is governance? It's a framework within which an organisation exercises its authority and includes rules, policies, procedures, norms, relationships, systems and processes. This framework influences how objectives of the organisation are set and achieved, risk is monitored and assessed, and performance is optimised. 2. Governance of portfolios, programs and projects. As a member of PMI, you can download a copy of many publications free of charge. For this section, you will find the following publication of value. It's the Governance of Portfolio Programs and Projects, a Practice Guide. This practice guide describes 4 governance domains of alignment, risk, performance and communications. You can read more about it on the PMBOK Guide, page 44. Number 3, management elements. These are the key functions or principles of general management in the organisation and are allocated within the organisation according to its governance structure and the organisational structure type selected. They include division of work using specialised skills and availability to perform work, authority given to perform work, responsibility to perform work appropriately assigned based on such attributes as skill and experience, discipline of action, e.g. respect for authority, people and rules, unity of command, e.g. only one person gives orders for any action or activity to an individual, the unity of direction, e.g. one plan and one head for a group of activities with the same objective. General goals of the organisation take precedence over individual goals. They are to be paid fairly for work performed, optimal use of resources, clear communications channels, right materials to the right person for the right job at the right time, fair and equal treatment of people in the workplace, clear security of work positions, safety of people in the workplace, open contribution to planning and execution by each person, and optimal morale. The PMBOK guide says on page 45, performance of these management elements are assigned to selected individuals within the organisation. These individuals might perform the noted functions within various organisational structures. For example, in a hierarchical structure, there are horizontal and vertical levels within the organisation. These hierarchical levels range from the line management level through to the executive management level. The responsibility, accountability and authority assigned to the hierarchical level indicate how the individual may perform the noted function within that organisational structure. Number 4, organisational structure types. Please read the list of factors in organisation structure selection and study table 2.1 on PMBOK guide page 47. It compares several types of organisational structures and their influence on projects. There is no one-size-fits-all structure for any organisation. The final structure for a given organisation is unique due to the numerous variables to be considered. 3. Project Management Office. PMBOK guide defines a project management office as an organisational structure that standardises the project-related governance processes and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodologies, tools and techniques. The responsibilities of a PMO can range from providing project management support functions to the direct management of one or more projects. There are several types of PMO in organisations. Each type varies in the degree of control and influence it has in projects within the organisation, such as supportive. Supportive PMOs provide a consultative role to projects by supplying templates, best practices, training, access to information and lessons learned from other projects. This type of PMO serves as a project repository. The degree of control provided by this type of PMO is low. And now we move on to controlling PMO. It provides support and requires compliance through various means. The degree of control provided by the PMO is moderate. Compliance may involve adoption of project management frameworks and methodologies, use of specific templates, forms and tools, and by that they actually mandate the use of those templates and tools, conformance to governance frameworks. Then we come to directive PMOs. They take control of projects by directly managing the projects. Project managers are assigned by and report to the PMO. The degree of control provided by the PMO is high. The Project Management Office may have organisational wide responsibilities. It may play a role in supporting strategic alignment and delivering organisational value. The PMO integrates data and information from organisational strategic projects and evaluates how higher level strategic projects are being fulfilled. The PMO is the natural liaison between the project's portfolios, programs, projects and the organisational measuring systems, e.g. balanced scorecard. The PMO may manage programs of related projects or portfolios of unrelated projects and work, but always with a view to providing efficiencies and benefits of a common administration. A PMO may have the authority to act as an integral stakeholder and is a key decision maker throughout the life of each project in order to keep it aligned with the business objectives. The PMO may make recommendations, lead knowledge transfer, terminate projects and take other actions as required. A primary function of a PMO is to support project managers in a variety of ways, which may include managing shared resources across all projects administered by the PMO, identifying and developing project management methodology, best practices and standards, coaching, mentoring, training and oversight, monitoring compliance with project management standards, policies, procedures and templates by means of project audits, developing and managing project policies, procedures, templates and other shared documentation, organisational process assets and coordinating communication across projects. That brings us to the end of organisational systems and also to the end of the environments in which projects operate. And the next module is 3.0, the role of the project manager. Please read the corresponding chapter in the PMBOK guide before watching the video so that you'll know what you're meant to be doing.